Okay, this may be a long video. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna wing it. I have an idea for this one project, and I said, well, while I'm practicing it, I might as well videotape it, and that way if it comes out good, my video's already done. This video will incorporate using, I'll tell you what I'm going to make after I show you everything. You're going to need 3 size looms. For the set I have, it's usually the blue, the red, the green, and then the yellow one. I'm using the smallest 3 ones, so the green, the red, and the white, or the blue. So when I tell you what we're going to be making, you can adjust it however you see fit. And of course, we need our tool. We need a crochet hook, if I can get it without falling. Okay, and you're also going to need, which is something I've never used in a video before, so this is a complete surprise to anybody, if I can get it, you will need some stuffing. Okay, and believe me, you can get a big bag of this. I got it at Walmart. I know some people are iffy about shopping at Walmart, but that's the only place in my area that I could find it. So you're going to get some like batting, basically. It's fuzz, and we'll be using that for this project. Yeah, the reason it took me so long to get it is kind of shoved in this one spot over here by me. Yeah. And this will give you a hint on probably what we're going to be making. We need some white yarn. Yes, we'll need scissors too. And yes, we are attempting to make a snowman. Because somebody asked me about making a snowman on looms, and I have this crazy idea. And the reason I want, 3 different size looms is I was thinking, when you look at a snowman outside, when you build one, you usually have the head smaller than the rest parts of the body. It's not all one thing. So my idea is we're going to do the drawstring cast on each of these. And this will be the head. This will be the middle part of the body. And this will be the size for the base of the snowman. What we're going to do is we're going to work from the head to the middle to the body. And I'll show you why. I have this idea that I'm crossing fingers that it works. We're going to do the drawstring cast on the blue loom. This is going to be for our head. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drawstring cast it on. We're going to probably do the tighter stitch on it, just because I think that'll work better, because I'm only using 1 strand of yarn. If you're using 2 strands, you can probably get away with a simple knit. Again, since I'm only using 1, I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do, because I've done plenty of videos of the drawstring cast on, is I'm going to quickly go off camera and I'm going to, well, I won't go off camera. This just might be a long video. So this is kind of like the part 1 of doing the head. So we're going to videotape part 1. I will probably upload these as maybe 2 different parts, or depending. We'll see how it goes. Bear with me. Like I said, I'm working on this part at the moment. So, we're going to do the drawstring cast on. Excuse me. And I just lost the end of my yarn. There it is. Oh yeah. And I'm hoping this will work because I have an idea of how we're going to take the head and attach it to the other. What we're going to do, I might explain a little bit of ahead my thought process. Drawstring cast this on. Make it down so it be like a pouch for like the head. Stuff it. Well, not necessarily stuff it, but we're going to take it off like as if we were taking off a hat, the normal taking it off. We're not doing any chains in between. We're just going to take it off. But before we tie it closed like we would normally do for a hat, we're going to stuff it and then tie it closed. So that's the idea of each of these, is making the stuffing. But what I'm going to try doing, and I might as well explain a little bit again ahead just to give you a feel so you can decide, is this a video I want to watch? So we're going to do that. We're kind of going to drawstring cast on, make our little pouch thing. We're going to take this off using the normal, if you have a needle you can use that, taking it off so you can cinch it tight. But before you do that, you're going to stuff it with the batting. And then what we might do is when we drawstring cast onto this one, and we have it really tight in here, as you've seen in other videos, we're going to take what we made on this, and we're going to attach it while the drawstring part is tight. Because we'll know right where the center is when we close it off. If you remember, you kind of can tell where the center of the drawstring cast on is. So we're going to attach it while it's on here, make the next pouch, do the same process, take it off, and again do it on this. Because I'm thinking that will help us line up the snowman's body, if everything goes right. Okay, so that's my introduction. Now, when it comes to the eyes and stuff, that you may have to try to add on later, which people are going to be like, well, that's going to mess me up. But sometimes you can just add little simple things later. I mean, you should be able to kind of sew one on through the batting, as long as you don't put the batting in something, I guess. But I'm sure you can figure out how to attach eyes to it. I don't have any buttons with me, but I'm pretty sure that you'd be able to figure out something of sewing a button on it, even though it'd be closed and batted off. If not, you can try to figure out where you'd want it on the head when you get it stuffed, and you might be able to try doing it a little bit then. But I'm sure you can figure out how to add the eyes later. Like I said, I don't have any buttons, so I'm not going to be showing how to add eyes to it. I don't really have anything. I mean, I have buttons, but I don't really have like the thin enough stuff to sew them on, so I won't be doing that. The other idea you could have is get some black beads, like pony beads, and try to figure out where the face would lie and put them on as you're doing it. But again, I'm not trying to get that complicated. This is just a basic snowman that you could try to add stuff on as you do later. Excuse me, I still have a little bit of a cough going on. My daughter got sick just after I was getting over being sick before. And now it's coming back to me a little bit. Oh, fun, fun, fun. But luckily it's only a cough. I can handle that. So I'm going to do our drawstring cast on. The first thing I'm going to do is do my little slip knot and anchor it onto the peg. Put this down so you can see. And as we've done before with the drawstring, you're just working your way back and forth. And I'm going to do and right after I do this drawstring, so it's going back and forth like I want it to. Okay, so once you get it back and forth, like looking like that, then remember you're laying it across the top, so that wherever there's two, and I lost my tool, there we go. So wherever there's two is where you're going to cast over, or knit over. So that one has two, that one has two, and that one has two. That's all we're doing. Oh, tricky doing this backwards too. Okay. So, like I said, I'm hoping this idea works. Obviously, if you see this video, it does work. So, that's all we're going to do. And then you can go on to the next part of just doing the tight stitch around. Maybe we're almost to the end here. Okay, and this is our drawstring. This is going to create that little pouch when we're ready. And then all we do is you push them down. Okay, and then you're going to take that string and go right around like you're doing your knitting. And what we're going to do, is we're going to do the tight stitch immediately from the start, which means we only have one here. So we got to wrap this enough times to be able to do a 1/2 stitch, which is the tighter stitch. We're going to go ahead and wrap it. Because you want it to be as closed off as tight as you can, obviously, because we're going to be stuffing it. So you want to limit the amount of batting looking through you or poking out of the project, unless you have, we'll say, like a white knee-high, I guess. I don't wear knee-highs, pantyhose, or whatever you want to call it. You could stuff that with the batting and then stuff it inside it if you wanted, because that way it kind of camouflages it a little more and it wouldn't be poking out as much. Okay, so we only have two on there now, so we're going to go around one more time to get our three. So that we can do a tighter stitch. And then all we're going to do is pretty much work our way till we get enough of a pouch that we think will work for the head of a snowman. And that's pretty much what you got to figure out with each of those. You may not, and what's good is if you wanted to, if you don't want it to be a big snowman, you just can kind of almost take this off a little ways down and make them minier snowmans, because you wouldn't, they'd obviously they'd be smaller. So, I know, I'm trying to get back into making some videos because things are going to get crazy around here with some other products I have. So I'm trying to do some now. So okay, we got our 3 strands on there, technically. A little different than we normally have our 3 strands because our first one is actually a drawstring. But we're still going to do a 1/2 stitch. Okay, so we're just taking the bottom one over the top. Bottom over the top. And that's all you're going to do all the way around. And so still we'll do the drawstring closed. It may not look as snowman-ish, but it'll still be cute, I think. And then what's even cute is after you get spelled done, you can even do the snowman a little hat off one of the looms, too. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go off camera, because I'm trying to make it's already at almost 10 minutes for this video, and I'm very grateful for people watching it this long. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this drawstring because I've done this in plenty of other videos before that you can go back and see if you don't know the next step. Because all you're going to be doing is rewrapping it. You already still have 2 strands. You're only going to wrap it one more time, take the bottom over the top too, and you're basically working until you can get it to be able to be pulled close. So I'm going to work on it for a little bit, and then I'll come back and show you where we are at that point. Okay, I'm back. I worked on the drawstring cast on. I pulled it closed. As you can see, I still got my straggler pulling string, so it's all tight and closed in here. And now it's time to tie this off so that it doesn't show through. So we get our crochet hook. We go on one side and we'll pull that string up there. Do this right. It's been a little while. You pull it through, and you pull it so that you just basically want that hole that's kind of in the middle to kind of be going away. But again, this will let you know where it is. I kind of do this back and forth a little bit. You see it's closing up that hole. You can barely see it. And with the snowman, you can decide which side you want to have be seen too. Normally we don't. Normally we would go with this side being the side seen, but you may decide you want this to be the outside of the pumpkin and have this little different texture. Don't mind me, like I said, I still have a little bit of cough. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna here a little bit here and there. And we're gonna tie this off by going to a loop. We can. A loop next to it, and we're just gonna pull. You see what I'm doing? We're just gonna pull that string through so that we can create our knot. See. And you want to do it maybe one more time just to make sure. And don't mind me, like I said, I have a lot of practice. And do it again. I have that, and bring the string through. Now this is what's closed off, and it's going to be like the top of the pumpkin's head. Now I'm going to make these relatively small pumpkin head, snowman balls, or whatever you want to call them, just because I want this tutorial not to be too long altogether. So this is what we got. Now we're just going to keep working around so we kind of create that pouch that we want for the snowman. So I'm going to bring this back up a little bit, and I need this tool again. And we're just going to go around to create the pouch, basically, that we want. Now what I'm probably going to do to make it easier taking this off is I'm eventually going to do where I just have one. I'm just going to end up using a crochet hook to take this off. I'll show you this idea that I did before, because I don't want to use the needle, because you always lose those little needles that come with the kit. But I would say go around maybe a couple more times. Like I said, I'm going to make this smaller than what I probably would normally do, just to see if this idea is going to work. Okay. Plus, now we have so much white, so I want to make sure I can get 3 different balls out of white. Excuse me. Alright, now this is older yarn too, so it's kind of fraying a little bit, which is good. But all we're doing is we're creating, hopefully it should be a little tiny ball. And like I said, I'm only going to go around a couple times after doing that. And then we'll stuff it, well, we'll take it off and then we'll stuff it and tie it off. And then we'll work on the next size up. Now after I do the next size up one, show you how I want to do that. That might end the video a little bit because you should be able to figure out, use that same method that we do on this one and that one to do it for the last one. So I should not have to necessarily show you the process of the last one. I should just be able to show you what it all looks like together when it's all done. Okay. There's one time around after I closed it off. Push it down so you can kind of see. Because if you push it down, one, we need to push it down in order to get the yarn around it. But the other reason we kind of push it down too is it gives you an idea of how that pouch is going. And this is straight, so I mean when we take this off, it's going to be a tiny little one. Like I said, I'm doing it small because I figured that way we can get through this a little faster and you can see the end results. Like I said, I'm doing the tight stitch. If you had 2 strands, you could probably get away with just a regular knitting of it. Or you can try out a different stitch and see how it is. I just wanted to keep it kind of something kind of simple. Okay, So what I'm going to do is once I get this off and I get this filled and I get this closed off, I'm going to already start the next one and not really show how I did the drawstring cast on, because you'll have seen that with this one, and then you just keep working around so you can close it off. So I will probably come back with that one when I'm ready to put this one onto that one, because you should at that point know what you're doing up to that point. And it's up to you how many times you want to go around. So I mean, basically you just have to play around with how big you want each section of I keep calling it a pumpkin, the snowman to be. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make this kind of end quicker, because, like I said, I don't want this video to be too long, but you would keep working until you got the size you want. I'm kind of interested in seeing if this could look like a mini pumpkin. See, I cannot call it a snowman. Snowman. So it must be it's telling me I need to make a pumpkin again or something. Okay. Once we get back to the beginning, we're going to take this off and we're going to get this ready to get filled and everything. Now, if you knew whereabouts you wanted the eyes to fall, you could probably put them on, but I think you should be able to find a way to sew something through, especially if you use a different color or something. If not, you can try to add it on ahead of time. We're going to push this down again. Okay, so this is going to create this very little pouch that we're going to fill to make the first snowman head. And again, you may need to go down longer. This is just to show you how we're going to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually keep this little different idea that I had one day. I think I saw it someplace, so I feel really bad if you're somebody I might have saw this from. Maybe it was that Good Knit Kisses, maybe, when I used to watch a little bit of her videos before I started really wanting to learn on my own. So I'm subscribed to her, and I really like her, liked her video stuff, but I try not to watch them as much because I don't want to be taking stuff from somebody else. I want to learn on my own and know that I did it myself. But this may have been an idea that she had, I can't remember. I'm going to leave, well, let me think. Okay, actually, no, I'm going to do it the other way. I got confused on what I was doing. Because you want to be able to tie this off. So leave yourself a strand on there. Like I said, I've got about that much on there. Then cut yourself another one. And actually, you don't need to, well, do you need to cut yourself another one? Yes, you need to cut yourself another. So kind of give yourself a lot of string. And we're going to do this a little different than, well, we definitely don't need that much for this size hat. The best way to see how much you need, an idea, is I sometimes wrap it around the outside of the thing, and I'm like, okay, I want double that, so then I go boom, and that should definitely give me enough to go and take this off like normal. Alright. Now, this is what I was doing earlier, and I just lost the other thing I wanted there. I lose everything when they're right in front of me. Okay. So, what we're going to do to take this off, normally you'd have a needle, you'd thread this yarn through, and then you'd work the needle through to take it off like a hat. And that's still the idea we're doing, but I was too lazy and didn't want to get my needle. So we're going to do this a little differently. What we're going to do is we're going to take this up here, put it to work like I want it to. I'm going to put both those loops that we just had on that one. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to pull this strand through, because we're going to use this to be tying it off. So we have this down here with that other strand we're going to use to tie it off. And then we go over and we pick up the next one. So they're a little tighter because it's a tight stitch. And then we're going to go and we're going to pull it through, just like you're doing the crochet hooks, but the chains in between. But you're pulling it all the way through, because we're going to tie this off, essentially, because it's going to be like the hat. And just keep track that the strands you have here don't go, you don't lose them. So that's all I'm going to do to go around and take this off. And then we're going to fill it, and then we're going to tie it off, and it will be our first snowman head. Or snowman ball, but technically head. Okay, all the time making sure, see if you look, I just pulled that one through, and now this one's shorter, so give that a little tug, because you want to make sure you have enough down here to tie it off with. I tried this on a hat I did earlier, and I liked it. I'm like, oh, a little different than using the needle, because I've been getting a little better with the crochet hook. So I'm just going to pull it so it strings through. Again, just checking that you still have your two, enough to work with to tie it off. That's all you need. All I'm doing is putting the two chains I have on there, the two things, I'm taking this and I'm just working it straight through. so that I'm pulling it so it's all the way through. You can pretty much tell which one's going to go through easier. And as I said, I'm just checking here. You probably could do a little slip knot if you wanted here, and slip knot onto there so that it doesn't come off. I just didn't do that. Now, it's up to you how much you want to stuff this too. So see, I'm checking to make sure that I still give myself enough at the beginning. And this is the same. I know what we're going to do is I got a cool idea for the next one. I'm hoping will work. You gotta love when you get ideas. Like I said, this video's going to be long, and I'm sorry, but you should be able to kind of figure out which part you want to do. So like I said, still working on the first. Checking my first 2 strings and make sure. I mean, I love all the ideas people have got me. I've projects of what to see. I just can't guarantee if I can get them all done. That's what I feel bad about. I've got a lot of projects going on right now, so as much as I want to do every kind of thing that people ask me to do, I really have to pace myself. So you may, if you request to see something, it just may take me a while to actually get to it. And that's in no way, trying to be mean to you guys. It's just sometimes I have to actually figure out how to do it. Because there are times that I don't know how to do a certain thing that you guys are asking. So I have to figure it out. And that could take a little longer than normal. Especially if I get sidetracked. And I do tend to get sidetracked a lot. So see, we're starting to lose that. You want to make sure you get enough of that there. Almost. Like I said, I'm only going to really have to show you the head of it and the main body. You should be able to do the last part on your own. I should not have to have the video there, but I can show you the project when it's all done. That'll help shorten this video up a little bit, because the method we're doing for the first 2, or to attach this one to the next one, is the same method you're going to use to attach that one to the third one. And what's really cool is it doesn't even have to be a snowman. If you wanted to do these all off the same loom and remember how many times you did it, it would probably actually make a really cute little like caterpillar, because you could, what you could work with, it could be really cute too. If you do them all off the same loom and you fill them all and tie them all together and accentuate with something, you can make caterpillars the same way. Those big, like, fuzzy ones, something. And I'm sure you can find other uses for this as well. I'm calling this a snowman just because that's I think it was my friend Claire. So Claire, if you're watching, this is for you. That asked me to do the snowman. So this is the way I would do it. Like I said, you're going to take this off just like you would have had. So if you don't want to do it this way that I'm doing, just do it the way you normally take off a hat. That we would have to, flip through and tie. Just take it off that way. I'm just doing it this way because I'm too lazy for the needle. And now what we have to do is we have to get some batting ready to stuff this. Oops, I just make sure you're going through the right. Okay, now we got like 4 more here to do. There's some batting, and then we'll fill it all up. We'll have our first part here. Now, like I said, you decide how deep or big you want it to be. So, I mean, you may go further, but you're going to be stuffing it, so it's going to help give it more shape, too, when you're done. Trying not to lose my voice. Alright, last one. Okay, this last one, we can get rid of this for now and set it off to the side. And grab that last little strand that needs to come through. Okay, so now we got our little pouch. Okay, we're not going to tie it off like we do with the hat. This is our little pouch to fill for the snowman head. So that's what I'm going to grab now with some batting. Now, if you probably had, I think they said like a white knee-high thing, you could essentially put this batting in the white kind of, excuse me, the white knee-high, and kind of keep it all together more, but I don't have one of those right nearby. See, all we're doing is stuffing it in, and go a little extra than what you think. You might be like, well, that's enough. Well, you want it full as much as possible. So you really gauge that and hold on to your strings to make sure you don't lose anything. because you're going to need to tie this off. So you're just going to stuff it as much as you think you can possibly stuff it, basically. And a good way to see if you got it overstuffed is to start pulling it to get it closed and pushing that batting in there. You see, we're starting to get our shape of our head. So I'm pushing the batting in there to debate, well, do I need more? And I might not actually need the white nylon thing because I did the tight knit stitch and it's not looking too bad. But you're going to pull it and be like, okay, do I need more? Do I need more? But I think that's going to be a pretty good size. I might actually have a little too much. So we're going to see if it's going to tie off the way that I want it to. So that's all we're doing is we're trying to tighten it just like we would have had, kind of pushing it in so that it will do what you want it to do. I almost lost my other. And now we're going to tie it off so that we can get this closed off with the batting in there. So that's all I'm doing right now is I've got this and I'm going to close it off with the string. And this is where you'll kind of get that, because you can see the batting and as we're pulling it, it's closing off that hole. Okay, and then once you tie it, because it might have a little too much batting, but that's pretty decently full. And then we're just going to tie it off like we would as if we're doing a hat. We'll have a little batting. And there's a little tiny hole there, but what we can do is we can hide this. What we're going to do is tie this twice. Don't worry about that batting hole, because what we're going to do, leave these strings on there. So give yourself money to work with, because when we go to put, when we do this one, stuff in my way. When we do this one, where this little hole is, we can attach and use those strings to attach to the next one. As you'll see. So you got this. You got this one kind of done. Now it might be filled a little too high. That's why you can still see the hole. Don't worry about that right now. Go ahead and leave the string. Make sure the string is long. I always say leave too much string to work with than not enough. So leave these strings alone. Do not cut it. You're going to use that to attach it to the next one. Now go ahead, do drawstring cast on, and work it till you can get this part closed off. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how to attach this to it. Okay, we're at the next part. So this is, I already did the drawstring cast on. I got it so it's pretty much almost closed. But I'm not as worried about closing off this hole because that is where we're going to put the head of that we did earlier. So that's going to fit right over top of that hole and kind of block it. Looks weird now, but I'm hoping this will work the way I was thinking. So what you can actually do is you're going to utilize this string along with these to help tie it onto there to make it your, you can also squish this a little bit to make it a little more round. So what we're going to do is we're first going to bring this over as if we were normally doing it, so I can have that same string on the same side as I'm working on putting the snowman head. So then we got their head, and what we're going to do, is because, if this wouldn't fight me, we've got 3 strands here, but I want each of these strands to go in a slightly different spot, so when they come out the bottom, I can use 2 and 2 and tie it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate a little bit, so these two that are closest together, over there, I'm going to bring them through just as if we were doing the normal drawstring. But we're going to go out just a little bit from the circle, pull it through. See, that's pulling it through and that's getting that one side down. Now we're going to do this side. I don't lose my crochet hook. So all I'm doing is going up through the bottom so that I can grab the 2 strands that are up there. The strand that goes to the one we were working on and that one, and pulling them through. That way, all my 4 strands, as you can see, are in the bottom. And then you can just kind of tug them, and I'll let you know that that's going to sit right on top. Now, there's kind of a gap, and you're going to say, well, I don't want that gap. What you can do also is you're going to, we're going to tie it, because we've already got it one way. And I got a lot of string, but I'm keeping a lot of the string on there just because I don't know how many times I have to tie it. I want to make sure I have too much and not enough kind of thing. So we're going to tie it the first time. Then, because it does have a wobble, what we're going to do is with our crochet hook, we're going to bring a couple of the strings back up through our project like we would normally do. Let's see what I'm doing here. I'm just going back through. I'm kind of going over a little bit to bring it back to the top. Both strands. Now what I can do to kind of get this so it's not so wobbly is I could actually kind of go alongside of it so that I can loop some between us. So this is actually attached to the head. And we're going to go to the side of the head and bring these two strands through. As you can see right there. But they're kind of both there. Oops, excuse me. Like that. So it's you bringing more of the head with it. No way to describe it. And then you're going to bring these, you're going to do that a couple times around. Going in and grabbing a spot in the head of a snowman and bringing those two strands through, kind of around it a little bit, so that way it's attaching the head more to the base, because you can hide that later with making it a cute little scarf or something. So that's all I'm doing, is kind of working my way around a little bit so that it will kind of be more attached to the head of it, and then I'll bring it back down through. So I did about half this size. Now I'm going to bring this down, because now I'm going to use this other side to go around the other part of it. So I went about halfway on this side working with those strands. I'm going to go one more time to bring it, excuse me, if you can see it, like bring it into the head part, and I'm bringing the strands through it. It's almost like you're sewing it while it's on there. And now I'm going to bring these two strands back down to the bottom. I'm not going to tie them at the bottom, but I'm going to bring them back through to the bottom. So they will already be there to help secure that head on there more. Now the two strands I have on the other side, these two strands I have here, I'm going to work back up so that I can make this side not so wobbly. See how this side wobbles and that one's kind of attached? It's hard to see when it's on it. I do it this way, maybe you can see. A little more wobbly on one side, because this side we used some through and that side we didn't. So we're going to bring up these two strands that we haven't been working with, back up to the top, making sure both come through. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side, but we're going to work it in the ridge here, in this part of it, so that it will attach the head, excuse me, to the body part of it more. And so you're just grabbing them, and you're pulling them through. It doesn't cooperate here, so that it will attach it more to the head. It's almost as if you're sewing the head on there. And what I like about doing it while it's on here, you're pretty much being able to line it up right. See, all I'm doing is working it so that it will attach this even more to this part. And all I'm doing is going on the underside of the head, using my crochet hook to find the loop to bring those two through. But you just want it to kind of have something else to basically anchor it. And once you kind of go back, I think you left off with the other one, which I got probably one more spot just to make sure. Okay, so we kind of got the head a little more anchored. So we're going to bring these two strands down. I mean, if I would have used a different color, it would have made it easier for you to be able to see. But I wasn't doing that because it was a snowman. Seriously? Okay, now it's not. Get back down there. I hate when things fight me. Crochet hook just got a little tangled. Okay, a lot tangled. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Now we can bring it through the bottom, so it's all I'm doing is pulling it through. And now I can tie it like I did the other time. You got these two strands. Okay, we're just going to tie together. And I hope you understood that. It's a little hard to show. Basically, I'll tell you in 1 minute. I'm going to tie it twice. And then before I cut this, I'm going to check the head part. It's a little more attached now, because what we did, if you couldn't tell, is we kind of worked ourselves into sewing this onto here more. So you're going to want to, however attached you want the head to be, you're just going to work your way around to kind of get it so that it is attached to it more. And then you can cut these extra strands. Just give it, like I said, a couple ties. You don't want the head to fall off afterwards. So I'm just tying it a couple times before I cut off the excess string. And I lost my scissors. So this is going to be hiding in the inside, so they're not going to see the excess. And what I just did is what you're going to do to attach to the last part of the body. But I won't show that as much because I'm pretty much showing you here in this video. It's going to be long enough. So now we got the head. So we're going to go around a couple more times so that we can have the body, which should hopefully be a little bigger than that. So I'm at least going to, well, I'm going to go around one more time and I'll take this off because this is already a bigger circle than the blue one when you think about it. So it should automatically give us a bigger spot. Excuse me. So I'm just going to go around one more time. Oh, I did that on the wrong side, didn't I? Dang it! I just realized I tied all that on the wrong side. Didn't I? No, I can make it work. Okay. Anywho, make sure you do it on the right side because I attached it to the top of this. I should have been attaching it on the bottom so that it would be hanging out the bottom. So there's going to be a difference. This one's going to have a tight stitch look on the outside. This one's going to look like this on the outside. So there's going to be a slight difference. So when you do it, don't do what I just did and put the head in the middle. Actually do it so that the head would be down here. So like I did it the wrong side. The head should be attached here when you're doing it on this loom. It should be on the bottom, not sitting up on top. But I think we can get it to still work. It'll just change up a little bit of what we're doing. Because I didn't oopsie. So you might want to reverse it, or if this way works, we'll know in about 2 seconds after I go around and I take it off. Then we'll know for sure that we can use it that way. Okay, just go around once, like I said, because I want to make this kind of quick, and this video is way too long already as it is, probably for anyone to watch. So if you're still watching, thank you. But like I said, I'm not going to show the third level because you should be able to figure that out between these two, and then I will show you the finished product at the end to show you what it should kind of look like. And again, before you stuff this one for the head, you could sew the buttons on where you think you kind of want it to be and unstuff it, probably. I'm just thinking I could probably attach something to it afterwards. So after this, I'm going to take it right off this loom, right after I'm done going around this time, just to make the process a little quicker, and so that we can see if it's going to work with me putting it on this side versus having it be on the underside. But like I said, if you're going to want the same pattern, the same stitch showing, you're going to want it on the underside because this is the side of the same stitch of what we did, and it looks different on this side, unless you don't mind it having kind of a different look. Because when you really think about when you make a snowman outside, all the balls that you roll for the snowman don't always necessarily look the same, in my opinion. Okay, so we're going to leave as long of the strands we can here. And we're going to cut ourselves another strand. Again, like I said, always leaving yourself too much versus not enough. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this off. Doing the crochet method like we did on the first one. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so we've got the last loop that I've got to do through here. I've already taken it off. Like I said, I did it the same exact way that we did it when we were taking the white one off. Now it's kind of a little, it's different because I was supposed to do it a different way, but I didn't. So I'm going to have to turn it this way. The body of the snowman's going to have a little bit different feel to it than it should because I put the one thing on wrong. So now we're going to stuff this and tie this off. And again, you're going to want to stuff it as much as you feel, as stuffed up as you want the snowman to be. In a second here, I'm trying to get some more. As you see, that's all I'm doing is I'm just stuffing the batting in there. And as you can tell, what you can start doing is pulling on the strings to get an idea of how full you want. This is what our snowman is looking like so far. We're going to fill it up with just a little more. You want the snowman to be pretty stuffed there. Kind of work it around the edges underneath. And give it a little tug to see if it's plumping up the way you want it to. That would probably work. I mean, it doesn't have to be overly filled. And remember, it doesn't have to be totally closed because when you do the last one on the green loom, you're going to be tying it through. So far this is what we got for our snowman. And you can even decide that you don't want to do another layer, just have it be a 2-layer thing. But I think he needs a little more stuffing. I've got a little more room in there. I'm going to stuff him a little more. Go, and then I'm going to tie it. As you're going to see, it's going to stick out some, but all you have to do is kind of work it back in there. Make sure it's as even as you can. You notice that you're stuffing and it's going towards one side more than the other, and just try to fix it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull on the string to get it closed as much as you can. And you're going to tie it. Tie it as tight as you can. Tie this off a couple times. I know you can't quite see what I'm doing. I'm just closing off the end of the snowman. Now, this is where it becomes your choice, because sometimes when people do decorations of snowmans, they tend to only have it be, maybe be too high. I mean, I could probably have got a little more stuffing in there. But that's what our snowman looks like when you put this up like this and hold it back. So these are 2 levels. This will be the face, and then we got the body. And then you're going to do the same thing that we did for the first 2 with the green, and have that one attached. Like I said, pretty much as you notice, we only did a couple strands past this one on this loom. We only worked a little ways past it. And then the red one, I only went one more time around once it got to the point where it would close off the drawstring. So you can do the same thing. So that way each one isn't going to be too much bigger than the other. But I think for now I'm just going to show, let you keep going on with the way you're going to want to do it. You're going to attach this to the same way to the green loom if you decide you want to have that other body. If you decide you don't, then just tie this off. And oops, it won't sit up here because I'm on my computer. But let me see if you can see. That wasn't very good. You can just sit on something if you want. Like I said, it's just a simple little decorative thing, and then I can go ahead and you can find a way to put the eyes on and that. But it's a way that you can kind of attach each piece while it's still on the loom, and this is your snowman. So I'm not going to show the finished as with 3, because I actually think it's kind of cute with just the 2 for right now. My daughter will probably play with it in the morning. So I'm going to wait and do the other part, but go ahead if you want to do a 3rd one on the next size up loom, just until the drawstring closes, and then that should give you just a little bigger size of the ball, but you can also make it a little bigger. So I hope that helps to make your first snowman.